Texas baseball continues to struggle, while softball shows improvement with a series sweep, and the NBA playoffs are in full swing. All this and more on College Press Box.
Good job, bud.
Welcome into College Press Box. I'm Robert Trevino alongside Thomas Fitch tonight as we bring you the latest both on and off the 40 acres.
Coming off 2 straight series losses, Texas baseball came into this weekend looking to get some momentum against number 20 West Virginia. They started off poorly, losing 3-2 on Friday and 9-8 on Saturday. Let's head down to the dish for Sunday's highlights as the Horns look to avoid a sweep. West Virginia looking to complete the sweep here in the top of the second. Horns get the out, but West Virginia gets the run. Let's go bottom second. Lance Ford going deep, first home run of the season. And remember that spot, he's going to find it later. Let's go bottom 4 into left field. That would score 1. The Horns go up 5-2. They get another run there before the inning is over. Now, bases loaded for Lance Ford, going deep. Remember, I said same spot this time. It's a grand slam, and the Horns lead 10-2. Top 9, 2 outs, and this game is over. Horns avoid the sweep, get their first win in 6 games, winning 10-2.
We now welcome in baseball analyst Cameron Parker. Cameron, thanks for being with us. The Longhorns have squandered some late-game leads and have had trouble closing games out. So what are the issues keeping Texas from securing these crucial wins?
Well, Robert, how much time do you have? Because we could be talking about this for a while. I think that the biggest thing, everything starts with the bullpen. Blown leads in their last 4 losses against West Virginia twice. They entered the bottom of the 9th inning leading, ended up losing. And you can look back at the Oklahoma State series, 36 total runs. The Big 12 is just too tough to win without having a solid bullpen.
Yeah, so you mentioned the bullpen. Texas has dropped those games that you would expect them to win, maybe in part because of that bullpen, and it's pretty disappointing, especially coming off of a College World Series appearance. So besides the bullpen and maybe including that, what are some other areas you think are holding the Horns back?
Yeah, not having a legitimate closer, I think, is the biggest thing holding Texas back. David Pierce hasn't been able to rely on anyone out of the bullpen. He's experimented with Cole Quintanilla, Donnie Diaz, Cam Fields, but he still doesn't have that go-to guy that come out of the bullpen. And while the hitting hasn't been awful, they scored 10 and 8 runs and losses. That should be enough to win a game. The top of the lineup has not been consistent. Only one batter batting above 300, and that's freshman Eric Kennedy. So I think Texas desperately misses DJ Pertinsky and David Hamilton.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely missing a lot of key guys. Coach David Pierce emphasized that it's basically do or die time for Texas at this point in the season. So do you see the Longhorns making the NCAA tournament this year, especially with just 2 regular season series left to make their point?
Well, losing their series against Kansas, or losing their series against West Virginia and Oklahoma State, it's really put them on the outside looking in. They can still salvage this, I think, Robert. They're going to have to beat Kansas. They're going to have to beat Oklahoma. They can't afford any of these losses to Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, or Incarnate Wood, or even Texas State. So I think, honestly, everything's going to come down to having a solid run in the Big 12 tournament just to have a shot to make the tournament.
Absolutely, I agree. Thanks, Cameron. It's always good to have you on. When we come back, we'll recap last weekend in softball, and softball analyst Christine Taylor will break down the implications heading into the end of the regular season. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back to College Press Box. This past weekend, Texas softball took on the Kansas Jayhawks for a weekend series in Lawrence. In the series opener, Texas kept the Jayhawks scoreless, led by pitcher Miranda Ellish, who racked up 12 strikeouts in the 3-0 win. Saturday's game was in front of a record-breaking crowd. The Longhorns won 10-1 in 5 innings. This was the 15th run rule victory of the regular season for the Horns, breaking a school record. Finally, on Sunday, the Longhorns completed the sweep over Kansas with a 4-2 win. Let's toss it over to Thomas and softball analyst Christine Taylor.
Thanks, Robert, and joining us now is Christine Taylor, our softball analyst. And Christine, as Robert just mentioned, you know, not only was it a big road series, but against such a tough environment in Lawrence, sellout crowd, a record-breaking crowd for them on Saturday. The Horns won that 10-1 in 5 innings. So what does a road series sweep mean for this Texas team?
I think that this win is really a big confidence booster for the team after that big loss to #1 Oklahoma last week. This is the first and only road series sweep for the Horns. I think moving forward, this is going to be a great push for them as the season comes to an end and they have those final 3 regular season games and heading into that Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, it was their first win since they got swept against Oklahoma last weekend. So what has improved and how have they improved since that series?
The biggest thing that has improved with this team is that they aren't afraid of the ball. Lauren Burke and Kaylin Washington had a total of 9 combined RBIs. They had 10 runs this game. Also, pitching has improved. One reason is because our best pitcher, Shaylin O'Leary, is back. She's pivotal to the team, one of the best pitchers in the NCAA. So they're really starting to get their momentum back, and it's great as it's at the end of the regular season.
Yeah, they are going to need some momentum. With it being the end of the regular season, only a couple games left, 1 against Incarnate Word and 2 against Baylor this weekend. So what are your predictions with them in these games?
They definitely should win all 3 of these games. Both teams are under 500. However, that should not distract the softball team from giving all they've got in these upcoming games. They should not go easy on them. They need that, like I said, they need that momentum heading into the Big 12 tournament, and they need to finish out these regular season games strong.
Well, Christine, thanks for joining us. And when we return, Steve Helwick is going to catch us up with all the NBA playoff action. Stick around. You don't want to miss it.
Welcome back to College Press Box. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and they're bringing plenty of exciting games as well as things to look for as they heat up. With us tonight is NBA expert Steve Helwick, going to run us through it all. Take it away, Steve.
Yes, Robert, the first round is finally over. It gave us its moments, including the shot heard around the world, which happened last Tuesday. Damian Lillard pulled up from 37 feet over Defensive Player of the Year candidate Paul George to put an exclamation mark on the Blazers-Thunder series, maybe the gutsiest shot in playoff history. And because of that, the Blazers are on to round 2, and now we're all on to round 2. But before we get into the round 2 action, let's go back to round 1. Game 7. Denver and San Antonio was Saturday. That was a 1 series that went to 7 games. And let's go to Mile High City for the highlights. Denver Nuggets, Nikola Jokic over the backboard. That is a shot that would give you an H in horse, and the Nuggets are commanding early. Jokic, one-legged fadeaway. He is just toying with the Spurs early on in the game. But the Spurs will be back. DeMar DeRozan throws down the hammer after an 0-of-8 start. Spurs are finally trying to get a semblance of an offense going. Monte Morris misses a layup, and Mason Plumlee, bland first half with an exciting dunk to go up 47-34. Gary Harris in the second half sinks a three-pointer. The Nuggets would finish 2 of 20 from 3, but they are in comfortable position right now. LaMarcus Aldridge getting the Spurs back in this thing on a pick and roll from Patty Mills. Now DeMar DeRozan feeds it to Bryn Forbes. Forbes connects on a deep 3, and the Spurs are closer once again. Bryn Forbes gets the assist from Patty Mills, dunks it, and the Spurs are within 2. Jamal Murray hits the running floater. He could not have swished that and placed that more perfectly in the net. Would that be the dagger? That would be up to DeMar DeRozan. DeRozan takes it in. Playoff DeRozan, no good, runs into a wall, and the Spurs inexplicably decide not to foul despite Greg Popovich's demands. Nuggets win their first playoff series since 2009. Throwing back to the days of Carmelo Anthony and Chauncey Billups and Kenyon Martin, it's been a while, Denver, and they deserve it. They will play Portland Monday night for their first second-round series. Now we're going to move to the East. Now, it's not Cleveland's time anymore. The Cavs were in the last 4 finals in the East, but we're going to get some new blood in the East. It's a 4-team war between Boston and Milwaukee, Toronto and Philly. None of those teams have been in the NBA Finals since the Celtics were there in 2010, and before that, the Celtics were in 2008 and the 76ers in 2001. But the Milwaukee Bucks have the league's best record. They're 60-22 and a potential MVP candidate in Giannis Antetokounmpo. Swept through the Pistons in the first round, and they hadn't lost a playoff game. But neither had the visiting Boston Celtics, who had a disappointing regular season with 49 wins. Let's go see what happened in Boston-Milwaukee Sunday afternoon for Game 1. So Al Horford, he just asserted his will on this game in Boston's 112-90 win over Milwaukee. Great defense on Giannis Antetokounmpo all game. And look, Horford was a playmaker too. When Horford plays well, the Celtics play well, as we saw last year in the Eastern Conference semis against the 76ers when he locked down Joel Embiid. And he just played a better game than Giannis. So if Horford can continue playing this well, Celtics are in great shape as they win their 5th straight. Now, Kawhi Leonard in Toronto, that was another story. This time the home team was dominating. Sixers had no answer for the Raptors' newest acquisition, and Kawhi Leonard had it on both ends, offensively and defensively. And it wasn't Kawhi Leonard dominating the 76ers, it was Pascal Siakam, who I think should be the most improved player of the year. Siakam had 29 points, Kawhi had 45 and 11, and the Raptors, they're a new Raptors team this year. This isn't your playoff Raptors of yesterday. Now there's less pressure on Kyle Lowry, and with Leonard and Siakam leading the charge, along with new additions like Danny Green and Marc Gasol, the Raptors are in really good shape in the East. Now we will fittingly close out this block with the wildest game of the weekend between the Rockets and Warriors. This is already giving us NBA Finals vibes. Let's go to Oracle Arena to watch the Rockets and Warriors in Game 1 for the 4th time in 5 playoffs. Now early on, Steph Curry hits a 3. He would be quiet for the next 3 quarters offensively, but it was a good start for the Warriors. Now Draymond Green to Andre Iguodala gets the alley-oop, and it's all Warriors early on. But James Harden has a signature step back, and he falls down. Klay Thompson gets into space. You can see Harden barking at the ref. Remember that play later on. Eric Gordon sinks a triple, and the Rockets tie it up at 53 at halftime. Now we go to the 4th quarter when Curry gives it to Durant. Dirk Nowitzki may have retired, but his fadeaway didn't, as Kevin Durant hits the one-legged fade over the Rockets. Late in the game, Klay Thompson gets it to Iguodala for the dunk, and the Warriors build their lead. Rockets are in desperate need of a bucket here, and that's what Eric Gordon's for. Eric Gordon delivers from San Jose on that one. Now James Harden takes it to the bucket, is fouled by Klay Thompson, gets the and one. Rockets trim it to 2 at 100-98. Warriors in dire need of a bucket here. Steph Curry crosses up Nene, uses a speed advantage, and Curry hits the dagger 3 over the Rockets, 103-98. Now all the Warriors have to do is draw a foul, but Kevin Durant, the ball is stolen by Danuel House. It's given to James Harden. Harden at the top of the key, looking for a step back, and he lunges forward, misses a shot. He's looking for a call. Chris Paul gets a rebound. It's a medieval war out here. Nobody knows what is going on, and Chris Paul gets ejected and teed up for arguing the call. Lots of controversial calls there. Warriors win the game 104-100, winning Game 1 over the Rockets. Now, while Klay Thompson may have invaded Harden's space on that closeout early in the first half, you can see Harden launched a little too far forward into Draymond Green's space on the final shot to warrant a call, in my opinion. But I'll let the viewers decide whether they want to call that a foul or not. But I know one thing for sure. The series is heated, and we can expect another riveting battle between the Rockets and Warriors going forward in the series. Robert, lots of exciting playoff action over the weekend. We'll pass it back to you.
Thanks, Steve, for catching us up on the playoffs. It's always great to have you on. When we come back, Thomas and I are going to run you through the last week in sports on the 40 acres and off, and look ahead to this week. Stick around.
Welcome back into College Press Box. Over the weekend, the 6th-ranked Texas men's golf team finished tied for 3rd at the Big 12 Championships in West Virginia with a score of 2 over. Cole Hammer led the team with a 6-under, 204 three-day score and finished tied for 3rd individually. The Horns will compete next in the NCAA tournament, which announces the regional field on Wednesday.
The 4th-ranked rowing team, led by head coach Dave O'Neill, won the 2019 Longhorn Invite title last weekend in Austin. The event was completed despite concerns of dangerous winds on Saturday morning. The Longhorns will next continue to Columbus, Ohio to take on number 6 Ohio State.
The men's and women's track and field teams competed at the National Relay Championships in Fayetteville, Arkansas this past weekend, and both finished 2nd in the event. The teams won 10 total events over the 2 days. The team will compete in 2 weeks at the Big 12 Championships in Norman, Oklahoma.
Texas saw 2 of its former players get selected in this year's NFL draft, as defensive end Charles Omenihu went 161st overall to the Houston Texans, while Chris Boyd went in the 7th round, 217th overall, to the Minnesota Vikings. Other undrafted Longhorns also signed deals with NFL teams, as Calvin Anderson and Andrew Beck signed with New England, Chris Nelson with the Steelers, Gary Johnson with the Chiefs, Devontae Davis with Seattle, and Anthony Wheeler with Arizona, while wideout Lil Jordan Humphrey signed with the New Orleans Saints.
This week in Longhorn sports on Tuesday, Texas baseball travels to Texas A&M Corpus Christi. They'll be playing them at 6:35. Then on Wednesday, softball is going to take on University of Incarnate Word. That'll be 6 p.m. on Longhorn Network. Friday, men's tennis will be competing in the NCAA regionals. That'll be Friday through Sunday. Also Friday through Sunday, baseball taking on Kansas in Lawrence. The game on Friday will be 6 o'clock on ESPN+. On Saturday, softball will start their 2-game series against Baylor, 6:30 p.m. on Fox Sports Networks, and they will finish off that series on Sunday.
Thanks, Thomas. That is all for this week's edition of College Press Box from all of us here at TSTV Sports, including those in Master Control, our analysts, as well as Thomas and I. Thanks for joining us tonight. Be sure to catch our sister show, College Crossfire, this Wednesday at 9 p.m. as we have our special alumni episode. Have a great week.